I think we ask ourselves the same questions. What are we not doing right? And what can we do better? To ensure that the most vulnerable people in our society have the support they need. I'm very glad that we are all here today to share our experiences and to listen to best practices, to learn from each other and get inspired. I think it's essential that we work together across departments, organizations, and countries in order to combat homelessness. In Denmark, homelessness remains a big problem, despite several national strategies since 2009 based on Housing First. In fact, the number of people living in homelessness in Denmark has been on the rise for the past 10 years. Combating homelessness is therefore a major concern for the Danish government. We need a new strategy. If we just follow the same path as we've been in at the last 10 years, then we'll have the same result. Here today, I'd like to share some of my thoughts on how we will combat homelessness in Denmark. It's essential that we focus on prevention. We need to help vulnerable children earlier and help them better than we do today. Those living in homelessness should receive help based on their individual needs, and we should work even more seriously on implementing Housing First, not just talking about it, but actually implementing it. First and foremost, the Danish government wants to prevent homelessness from an early age. As Minister of Social Affairs, I've met a lot of people living in homelessness. What many of them have in common is the fact that their problems started in their childhood or youth. Soon we will present our proposal on how we can help and support children in vulnerable families before the problems grow bigger. Sometimes that means giving the children a new home if their biological parents are unable to take care of them. We should also improve our help and support to children in foster care. Today, many of them end up living in the streets as adults. I could talk for hours about how we can take better care of vulnerable children and children in foster care, but it's not the main focus of this conference. So for now, I'll just wrap that part up in these words. We should help much earlier than we do today. We should help better to prevent vulnerable children from becoming vulnerable adults. I also think we need the right social support system for those already living in homelessness. We know that homelessness has many causes, and the help and support we provide should be just as varied. We should focus not only on the housing situation, but also substance abuse, mental illness, and other social issues we know are the main causes behind homelessness. We also need to take into account that help and support depends on individual needs. The solutions may be quite different for younger people compared to older people who've been living in homelessness for years. As I said, we should help young people a lot earlier and also help them before couch surfing turns into sleeping on the street, whereas older people might need massive help to get out of substance abuse, help with the traumas that they've been carrying with them since childhood. And then there's Housing First. This is, of course, also important. We know that the combination of housing and social support is the most efficient weapon against homelessness. But despite of that knowledge, we haven't reduced the number of people living in homelessness significantly. Why is that? I think we ask ourselves, at least here in Denmark. I think in Denmark we might have been too focused on the social support methods and maybe a bit less focused on housing. But Housing First doesn't work without suitable housing options, and we simply lack that at the moment. Therefore, inspired by Finland, I've teamed up with the Minister of Housing to find solutions to the problem. This work also includes other ministries. We have to look all the way around the problem and work across ministries, work across sectors in order to combat homelessness. We've not succeeded with that. Maybe we've even neglected that in Denmark. It's been mainly a social problem from my ministry. We need to work together across sectors. because combating homelessness is complex. There are no quick fixes, and it's a long haul for all of us. I'm glad that we have so many different people with us today to give us very different perspectives to the challenge. We need that. Some countries are very good at implementing housing first and making national strategies for housing. Others have been good at providing the right support mechanisms, and others again have a very strong focus on early intervention. I believe strongly that there's a lot we can learn from each other, and I believe that working together makes a stronger force against homelessness. We are some of the richest countries in the world. Our welfare system should be able to help our most vulnerable citizens better than today. And with these words, these ambitions that I hope we share, I declare this very important conference for open, and thank you very much for your attention.